Chris Gunzz here with Ring 10's Matt Farrago. And Matt, 1 week from today, September 8th is the date, 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. Ring 10 is going to do it again. Its third annual extravaganza. Truly a great cause, a heroic organization for retired boxers or boxers in desperate situations. First of all, for the people who don't know, how did Ring 10 get started, Matt?
A bunch of guys decided to form a group that truly helped fighters, and we just started. We got our 501c3 and established as a non-for-profit, and we've been doing great ever since. And
other sports have unions and guaranteed care or injuries for the injuries they're suffered or hard times that guys in the sport might have fallen upon. But no such care for boxers, is there?
Yeah, it's sad that in this day and age, we have a professional sport where there is no retirement fund set up, there's no health plan set up. If you don't fight, you don't get paid. And once you retire, there's nothing to prepare you for that life afterwards.
Yeah, and joining us also is one of the most recognizable, if not the most recognizable voice in the sport, HBO's in-house judge, one of the greatest hearts of anybody you'll ever know. He's also a member of the board and serves as the MC for next week's event, the one and only Harold Lederman. Thanks for joining Matt and I, Harold.
I'm not the one and only in my own house. That's okay. I'm more than happy to be with you.
You downplay your greatness, Harold.
Oh, come on. It should be a good affair next week. We're looking for, a record-breaking crowd. I mean, next week should be the best crowd we ever had. We're working hard to get, a lot of people there, and hopefully we will. And, I think that we should, we really should have over 200 people there, and we're really, looking forward for a good time. Because anytime you get together with 200 boxing people, it's a good time. I mean, it's a choice for the fans to get a lot of autographs and, mingle with Boom Boom Mancini and Livingston Bramble and all the other guests we have. And, especially guys like John Duddy, who, one of the most personable guys that ever lived. Yeah. It's a real chance to sit down and get autographs and talk to the guys and spend a Sunday with them. We've got the place for 5 hours, and 5 hours with Ray Mancini is, just an incredible time because, there's just not a nicer guy in all of boxing, and he lives on the West Coast, and our affairs on the East Coast in the Bronx, and so it's a chance for the East Coast guys to get together with Ray and and spend some time with him and talk about his career. I mean, if you're a fight fan, you got to love Ray Mancini because he's the best, and as I say, Duddy's going to be there, and he's very personal also. We always have an entertainment celebrity. Last year we had Hope McCallany, who the boxing fans remember from his great show Lights Out. And he was Lights Leary, the former heavyweight champion of the world. And he came to Ring 10 not to get money that we give to indigent fighters, but, to push the affair. This year, we got even bigger. We've got Danny Aiello, one of the real stars of the motion picture industry. So we're looking forward to Danny coming, and it'll be a lot of fun to schmooze with next Sunday. So, it's a real fun time, and for people, who love boxing and want to get out and just talk to the fighters personally and get with them, we've got Calvin Grove from Philadelphia. He's coming in, and he was a heck of a fighter at his time. So, we have some terrific guests, and, and they spend time with the fans there. It's not like we put guards around them or anything like that. They sit there and they sign autographs and take pictures and do all the other things you want to do. So it should be a great affair.
Yeah, people who love the sport, they don't realize how many people are in desperate situations. A lot of people sit back and they think that everybody's a big money-making fighter like a Manny Pacquiao and a Floyd Mayweather. But why is it so important, Harold?
Well, Matt will explain it to you. Matt's a former fighter. There's just no organized program set up, for money for former fighters. I noticed that the NFL is really heavy into this in the past 2 years. They're setting up all kinds of plans for guys that had concussions and whatnot. But in boxing, there's nothing, and there's nobody to do it either. There's just no nobody out there to raise money for a guy like Gerald McClellan, who's really, really in bad shape out in Illinois, I believe, or Wilfred Benitez, who's in terrible shape. Great fighter, great champion, and he's in terrible shape with Puerto Rico. And we help these two guys, you know. We send them money every month, and Matt will tell you about it. And, you know, our cause is really something special because, you know, we're the only ones out there doing it. And, although, you know, look, we're not as big as the NFL, who, you know, they talk millions of dollars while we talk in single dollars. You know, at least it's a start, you know, and we're doing something for the guys that really need some help.
Yeah, and Harold downplays how important and how vital he is, Matt. How great is Harold, Matt? What's he bring to the event?
Harold's a huge asset to us. We love having him. He has such informative input and knowledge of the sport, and he's just great to have on the board. It's been about a year, I think, I put him on the board, or we put him on the board, and it's been all downhill as far as that goes. Yeah, this is a great event. This is our big fundraiser. What we make this year, the good thing is, you know what? We're almost broke, and I say that with pride. That truly means something to us, meaning that in 1 year, we've almost dispersed all our funds to fighters in need. We don't harvest the money. We don't sit on it. We don't try to, you know, put it away somewhere, and we don't abuse it. 100% of the money, 100% of the money is accountable. There are no administrative costs and anything like that. And so for us to be broke in 1 year is really a tribute to that we are giving it out. And it's like I said, it's all accountable, so it could all be divulged if necessary. And I'm really proud of that. And this is where we need to make our money. So we need the support of the fans. And the good thing about it is we give back. You're going to get a chance to meet Ray Mancini, Calvin Grove, Livingstone Bramble, Iran Barkley. They're all going to be sitting on the dais. They're all going to be mingling. They're all going to be taking pictures with you. It's a great event. It really is. Everybody's happy that leaves.
Yeah, and for those who don't know you, Matt, you're one of those guys who are involved in the sport. You participated, but your name's not recognized to most people. You're not like Harold where you're on TV all the time, but you're a member of the New York State Athletic Commission. What's your role for the Athletic Commission, Matt?
I'm an inspector. I've been an inspector for about 3 or 4 years. I work in the locker room with the fighters. I make sure they wrap their hands correctly. I sign off. I make sure they put the gloves on correctly. I sign off on that. Then I bring them out to the ring, and I'm in the corner usually when they're, you know, for that 1 minute rest period. I don't have the name recognition. Maybe that's the reason why I'm in the position that I'm in that I didn't make the big money, but I did put myself through college with my hand. I turned pro while I was in college to pay for school, and I did it. So in a way, I'm different, but I'm not any less than a champion. And I never think of any challenger any less than I do of a champion. Anybody that gets in the ring is worthy of our respect. It just is. Especially anybody that's gone in the ring more than 10, 15 times. That's a true fighter. And that's the guys that we help. We don't help only champions. And I've given you a couple names, or Harold has, Joe McCallum, and Wilfred Benitez. There are a lot of undercard fighters that we help. Guys that didn't get the championships, didn't get the opportunities. I never got the opportunity. Am I any less? Well, I don't think any less of myself than I do of any champion. They got the opportunity that I didn't get, and they capitalized on it. That's great. But you know what? After I had 28 pro fights, and I fought for 13 years, guys like me, and there's plenty of them out there, even with lesser names, they still deserve our respect.
No, and the event's always dedicated to certain people, and this year it's dedicated to some people from the Bronx. The fighting DeLuise Brothers are being honored, and Mike, Steve, and Sal DeLuise. For people who don't know them, tell them a little something about them, Harold.
Well, you know, Steve DeLuise was a tremendous fighter. Our affair is in the Bronx this year at Marina Del Rey. The DeLuise Brothers were really hot. Steve DeLuise fought in the 40s. He fought Sugar Ray Robinson, and one of the best middleweights in the world. I mean, he never won a world title, but, you know, you only had one middleweight champion in those days. And we're honoring him. His brothers weren't as well known, but they were fighters also. And Harry Balsamo, also a great fighter from the Bronx. We've got one of Harry Balsamo's relatives coming to accept his award, and Steve DeLuise passed away, unfortunately, and his award is being accepted by his daughter, Stephanie, who is a member of Ring 10. So, you know, it's going to be exciting for the old-timers to hear a little bit about Harry Balsamo and the DeLuise Brothers. But as I say, Steve was probably the most well-known among the people that we're honoring, because he was a sensational fighter, fought many times in the Bronx, and, you know, one of the top middleweights of his day. And we're really honored to have, you know, living relatives of both Harry Balsamo and the DeLuise Brothers there to accept the award. Stephanie DeLuise is very excited. You know, she always talks about her dad. She knows so much about her dad's background and his history. And she's going to, you know, get up there at the dais and tell some awfully good stories. So we're looking forward to Stephanie accepting the award to see DeLuise.
Yeah, we're in a time where there's 4 or 5 champions in every weight class, and there's so many guys from that era that would have been title holders, and of course Steve's one of them. And
yeah.
The belting brakeman, Harry Balsamo, dedicated to him too. It's really great, and I hope that I'm not spoiling any surprise for you, Harold, but you're being honored.
No, not at all. Not at all. But as I say, next Sunday I think it's going to be a terrific affair. Matt's worked awfully hard. You know, he's been the driving force. He's been putting out flyers and sending out emails and making phone calls and doing all the things necessary to get, you know, the boxing crowd to come. And I've been trying to get all my friends and, you know, relatives and everybody else to come to this affair next Sunday. So, you know, it should be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Anytime you can spend a Sunday with Ray Boom Boom Mancini, the fun afternoon. It's a shame that he lives in Los Angeles now, but, you know, he was a great guy when he was a fighter. I mean, I remember his dad real well. See, the story, I don't know if you remember way back when Ray was fighting, but, you know, the story was that his dad was a contender in the lightweight division, and what happened was his dad got drafted into the service to fight in World War II, so his dad never got the chance to win the lightweight championship of the world. So now here comes Ray, and he don't know how to do nothing but fight. So he turned pro, and he wound up winning a lightweight championship of the world, which he dedicated to his father. And, you know, that was the great story in his day. But all of a sudden, along comes a guy named Mark Kriegel, a well-known writer, who writes a book called The Good Son. The book becomes a motion picture. Mark Kriegel went all the way to Korea to write the book because Ray had fought a guy named Duck Koo Kim, who passed away after the fight, very tragically after the fight in Las Vegas. And Mark Kriegel went to Korea to interview the family of Duck Koo Kim for the book, The Good Son. And it became so emotional that it turned into a motion picture, which is now in theaters all around the country. And I got to tell you, if you want to see something, go see The Good Son, the story of Ray Mancini. I've seen it twice already, and on 2 occasions I didn't see one dry eye in the entire place. It seems what happened was that at the time Ray fought Duck Koo Kim had a girlfriend back in Korea who was pregnant. And, you know, of course, he passed away, and subsequently the girlfriend had a boy. And, you know, now the boy grew up, and Mark Kriegel arranged for Duck Koo Kim's son to come to the United States to meet Ray Mancini. And it's one of the most emotional things I ever saw. Yeah. And as I say, it just touches you tremendously. And you have to see it. You really have to see the movie and see the actual meeting between Ray Mancini and Duck Koo Kim's son. It's something to see. It really gives you an understanding of how a death in a ring can affect a fighter.
Yeah, I came up in the 80s, and my grandfather was a huge Ray Mancini fan.
Everybody was. I mean, you know, Ray was probably the most popular guy ever to lace on a boxing glove. I mean, I know everybody loved Matt Farrago, but Ray Mancini was something special, you know. And as I say, in those days, it was a great story about Ray winning the title, you know, for his dad, who was still alive at the time. And, you know, but the story of Duck Koo Kim, and now the movie coming out, The Good Son, is really something special. But we're really looking forward to to being there with Ray next Sunday, and I'm sure the 200 people that come, we hope we'll get a lot more, but they're having an enormous time reading with, sitting there and talking to Ray Mancini and getting his feelings on what it's like to be a fighter and winning a title for his dad, and then, having this terrible tragedy in his life, and then, somebody comes along and puts some meaning to the tragedy.
Yeah, and for anybody who doesn't know the story of Ray Mancini and Dooku Kim, we're lucky we live in the age of YouTube where you can just go and get on YouTube and type in the names and find out a ton of information. It's really an incredible story, and Ray Mancini's such a good guy and wears his heart on his sleeve, and he's been talking about it since it happened and how it affected him, and it's really incredible stuff. And my question is, this is the first time that Ray Mancini and Livingstone Bramble is talking to each other in 25 years. And I wanted to know how they reacted, Matt, when you asked them to be a part of the event and when you were putting it together. Not always easy that rivals come together again, no matter how many years went by. I had Vinny Pazienza and Greg Haugen as guests on my show, and you can check my YouTube page for that. You'll see how bad blood can still exist after so many years. Greg Haugen still didn't let it go, and you have Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier. They never seemed to be able to be friendly fully. I'm not sure how much of that was a show that Joe put on, but it always seemed like Joe held a grudge against Muhammad Ali no matter how many years went by. How willing was Livingstone Bramble to be a part of this? I know Ray probably had no problem. Was Livingstone just as easy to get to agree to?
Chris, it was actually the opposite. It was actually Livingstone. Well, Livingstone had won, I think, both fights. Mm-hmm. So he had less animosity against Ray than vice versa. And then when I spoke to Ray, Ray kind of broke down a little bit and said, Matt, you know what? I want to help you guys out. I know it's important. Yes, I will come. I said, Ray, you sure? Sitting on the dais, with Livingstone, he goes, Matt, I'm putting everything on the side, no problems at all. I want to help you guys out, most importantly, and I will be there. And so he's now excited, and, we'll make a nice little big deal with a big hug. We have them separated on the dais, but they'll talk, and they'll be fine. A fighter fights with his heart. There's really nothing usually personal about it. It's a job, and that's what we do. And when the fight's over, that hug is usually genuine in the ring, and it's respect between the two fighters, and they'll show that on the on the dais. Chris, I just want to get back to the Balsamos and the DeLuise Brothers.
Sure.
If I could, it's important to know that we at Ring 10 don't only honor the future fighters or the present fighters. We want to remember. I, as a kid, grew up with, I learned about Rocky Marciano, who was way before my time, and Jake LaMotta, and Bo Jack. And I think it's important for any fighter and the people not to forget where we came from, where the sport derived from, and the fighters that built it up. And, oh my gosh, Kid Gavilan, you got a million names I could throw at you. Mm-hmm. So we are honoring the DeLuise Brothers and Harry Balsamo because I want to remember the tradition. We also have 4 awards, and each award is given to somebody present and also to honor the person's memory forever. So we have the Arthur McKenty Award. We have the Bert Sugar Award. We have the Salda, the Steve Aconto Award. Mm-hmm. Harold, what's the 4th award we have?
The one that Tony Perez is winning, the Jose Torres Renaissance Man Award.
That's right.
Jose Torres. So in a way, the 4 awards that we're giving out is honoring the person today, but also the person, in the past, or in Steve Aconto, I shouldn't say that, is still alive and well. But in memory, for tradition, it'll still go on forever. So the club's great. Every aspect about this club is great. And if we ever have a problem, we hash it out and we go on. And the only thing positive is, the only thing that we need from the people is them to show up. And that's what we hope they do. If you go to a website, if you just pull up Ring 10 on the internet, just Ring 10, you'll see it'll be about 4 or 5 down. And you can get all the information. You can pay online through PayPal, and you can do anything through the website.
Yeah, and Matt, you mentioned the 4 awards that are being presented this year, and our other guest Harold is getting that Bert Sugar Award. It's going to you, Harold. How?
Yeah.
And it's going to. It's because
that's sweet, right?
It's awesome.
Anyway, no, I'm very proud. Bert was a terrific person. Like Matt says, we want to honor his memory. He died way too young. I mean, Bert was just, he was like, I don't know, he never aged, he was Bert, and all of a sudden he gets sick and he passes away, and we were just shocked. And certainly we want to, people to remember Bert because, he was just a character and he meant so much to boxing. And, people used to just think of Bert Sugar and think of boxing. So, he wrote so many books about boxing. So, we're overjoyed to honor Bert, and I'm overjoyed to have been named the first Bert Sugar award winner.
Yeah.
A funny story about that is, we thought we wanted to do it. We knew we wanted to honor Bert Sugar. We knew it. And that's a done deal. We all voted, yes, let's make an award. Who are we going to give it to? Who's the most worthy person to give at least the first one to? That's really important.
Mm-hmm.
And we went back and forth, and then we couldn't figure it out, and we threw out names, and we're talking, and him, and this guy, and that guy, and then I forgot how it happened. I think I was driving, and I said, oh, my gosh. The reason was Harold Lederman was in court, was part of the board, and we weren't thinking to choose somebody from the board, but looking back now, Harold Lederman was the best candidate to receive the first Bert Sugar Award. And so, it's not like we're trying to honor our board only, and very rarely does a fighter or somebody on the board get an award, but in this instance, Harold Lederman was the best candidate for the Bert Sugar Award, and he's online. We're going to make a big deal about him on Sunday, too.
So take that, Harold.
Yeah, it's very kind of Matt. I'm really thrilled to death to win an award named after such a great person who I spent so much time with. I spent an awful lot of time around Bert, and I just loved him. He was a funny guy and a bright, witty guy with a million stories, and it was always just great to be with him.
Yeah, he's a guy who I wish was still around. And have you begun your acceptance speech, Harold?
No, not yet. I think mine says I'm limited to 5 minutes.
Are you gonna write it yourself, or do you got a ghostwriter somewhere?
No, I'll write it myself. That's for sure.
Yeah, and also being honored, and you mentioned a lot of them. You first time awards, you got the Jose Torres Renaissance Man Award, like Harold remembered, and former referee Tony Perez is getting that, and Star Boxing CEO Joe DeGuardia, he's going to receive the what is it called? I'm sorry, the Steve.
The Salder. It's really called the Salder because it's the Steve Aconto Lifetime Nation Award. SALDA.
Wow.
The acronym. So it's a Salder. It's really the Salt Award.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't get a better person than Joe DeGuardia. He's a guy, there's 2 guys that keep boxing alive in New York right now, and that's Lou DiBella and Joe DeGuardia. Joe was boxing, for years. He's run boxing in Yonkers, at Yonkers Raceway. He's run at the Paramount Theater in the Bronx. Now he's coming up on his 10th show, September 14th, at the Paramount Theater in Huntington. It's going to be the 10th time he's run out there on Long Island, and he's going to do a live show featuring Chris Algieri, who's an undefeated 140-pound fighter, and then he's going to show, he's going to drop down a big screen and show the Floyd Mayweather fight. So, Joe is a guy who just keeps on running and running and running with his own money. He's a former Golden Glove fighter himself, practicing attorney in the Bronx, and I don't know how he gets time to practice law because he spends so much time with his boxing business, but, he just keeps developing young guys, and he's got a kid named Demetrius Andrade who he promotes, who's fighting for a world title on HBO in November. So he's fighting for the junior middleweight title in November. He's Demetrius, a former Olympic fighter, a real good fighter. Mm-hmm. So, Joe DeGuardia, as I say, he's kept boxing alive in New York, in the New York metropolitan area for years and years and years. And if it wasn't for Joe and Lou DiBella, there just wouldn't be any boxing in New York because, Bob Arum will come into Madison Square Garden and rent the garden 3 or 4 times a year. But guys like DiBella and DeGuardia, they're running twice a month. So, he's done an amazing job for the fight fans, and everybody loves Joe DeGuardia. So we're really honored to have him as one of our honorees.
Yeah, and Arthur Mercanti Award being awarded to great referee Wayne Kelly. Unfortunately, he passed away. A very deserving list of guys who been a credit to the sport. I was shocked and saddened when I heard that about Wayne's passing, and he was a really good recipient. Great referee, was a credit to the sport every time he stepped in the ring. And what do you got to say about Wayne Kelly?
Well, he was a family man. He was a veteran. He was a former fighter, and like you say, he was a great guy. Being a former fighter, he became a referee, and he refereed an awful lot of title fights. Everybody will remember him from the riot between Riddick Bowe and Andrew Galata. I mean, what a situation to be put in. Guys jumping in the ring and fighting with each other, and Galata throwing all those low blows and whatnot. And Wayne was the referee in that fight, and he really helped, keep order, so to speak, because it was a really tragic situation what was going on. But Wayne was a terrific person, and as I say, great family man, and I believe it's his son that's coming to accept the award for him, and he just had a heart attack at a very, very young age, and Wayne died 30 years before he should have. I mean, to put it that way, he was just a young guy, and we loved him. He just was a terrific person to be around. He never turned down anybody for a picture, an autograph, or anything. And we're really honored to have Wayne win that second Arthur Mercanti Award, and I'm sure his son's going to get a nice trophy, and it's going to be a very touching, moving moment for son to accept the Wayne Kelly Award.
And lots of other guys besides who we already named, writers Ron Ross and Mike Silver, great cut man Big George Mitchell, former fighters Tyrone the Harlem Butcher Jackson, Leary No Fair Barnes, gold medalist and welterweight champion Mark Breland, Aaron Superman Davis, Dennis Milton, Chuck Wepner's going to be there. So
we don't know Chuck. I don't want to mislead you. We don't know yet if Chuck's going to make it. Marlon Starling is going to make it. We lost John Scully. It happens. You can't hold them at fault. Things come up in their lives and they can't make it. But yeah, we got to. And plus, we're expecting a whole bunch of young fighters that the promoters are going to bring with us. We're going to introduce them to the crowd.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and John Scully relocated to Florida. Nothing he could do about that. It's something that came up in his family, and that's the only reason why that happened. He's a great guy, stand-up guy, does anything to help the sport, and is a young guy who knows the sport in and out. He would have been a great ad, but life happens, and like you said, and it's getting bigger every year. Last year, you raised a total of $8,600, and you spent every cent helping retired fighters. It's a great number, but not nearly enough for the amount of people who need help, is it, Matt?
No, it's not. Of course, we could do more, and of course, we want to do more, but we're limited to what we have and what we bring in, and unfortunately, that's the way it is. But we're the only help out there. But you know what? The small amount of money or the services that we provide, we do provide other services besides just taking care of a bill. We took care of Carmelo Negron. It's a great story. Carmelo Negron passed away about 4 months ago, give or take. And his son called me up and said, Matt, listen, I'm trying hard to get money for a headstone for him. We need some help. I said, what do you have? He said, well, we have nothing. I said, I made a couple phone calls. I called him back. I said, listen, give me the name of the funeral parlor. Don't worry about it. It's already taken care of. We took care of the whole expense. How could I give him some of the money or partial money and say, go ahead, you go find the rest? Do I want to put that burden on a son that's trying to bury his father? So we took care of that. We also revived a fighter that was buried 71 years ago. Ray Bonte. He was buried 71 years ago with no headstone, just left in the ground. The long story short, we revived him. We got a headstone because the family couldn't afford to get a headstone. We did a 10 count. We had about 50 people there, and we honored this guy. We put his soul to rest. Within, I think, about 6 months, both of his living relatives, his only living relatives, passed away within 6 months. And it sounds bad, but in a way, I think their souls were put to rest, and they joined him.
Yeah.
Great thing we do. You know, we help active fighters, deceased fighters. You know, we just help when nobody else wants to help, and everybody else forgets. That's where Ring 10 steps in.
Yeah, boxers are warriors, and no warrior could fight forever. And when they can't fight anymore, that's where you guys come in, and it's incredible work. And I just want to fill some people in with the information that I have. For a ticket that costs $135, and I want to stress that all profits from this charity will go to boxers in need, including former champions like Harold mentioned, Wilfred Benitez and Gerald McClellan, for monthly payments for food and medication and other needs. A well worth $135 because it includes cocktail hour and a top shelf open bar, a sit down dinner with some of the greatest names in the history of the sport who we talked about from yesterday and today. Lots of great fighters today are there, and legends, luminaries in the sport, actors. Danny Aiello is going to be there, and for such a great cause like this, I know that WBO middleweight champion Peter Quillen agreed to be there. So
yeah,
just every day new people add their names to the list, or people are considering doing it. I know a lot of people who talk to me about how they wanted to be a part of it too, and I'll give you that information after the show's over. But there's a lot of people there that are happy to be there, and lots of people that aren't there. And we named all the people that are going to be there in the Ray Mancini, Livingstone Bramble thing. How could you not want to be a part of that? So anybody who wants to spend a good $135, you can't go wrong here. And how did my next question, Matt? You can't just show up though. I want to stress this. You have to reserve a seat, right? You can't just show up on the day. You have to reserve a seat, right, Matt?
You could. No, you could. You could. I'll be honest with you. You could show up and pay at the door. I want to minimize any stress at the door. So even if it's a phone call, hey, Matt, I'm going to take 3 tickets and I'll work it out with you. I just didn't want any financial training at the door. But we will find seats for you at last minute. We just want to, it's accountable. It's not at the catering hall, so they want to know we're going to make 100 or 200 steaks, so to speak, kind of deal. But so it would be best even if you had to call me on the phone. My phone is on the website. My email's on the website. You could pay on PayPal with any credit card through the website. There's no reason to not go. This is a Sunday afternoon, 11 to 4. Nice, calm of the day. The weather should be beautiful. You're looking over the water at Great Neck. So you're on the Bronx side looking at the Clark Neck Bridge and Great Neck, and you have all these opportunities to mingle and take pictures. And, hey, Ray Mancini, come take a picture with me. He's the nicest guy in the world. Now, one fighter will give you a hard time. Great guys, great event. It's really, you know what, you're getting your money's worth 10 times over. You just are.
Yeah, and for every Floyd Mayweather and Oscar De La Hoya and Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, there's thousands upon thousands of guys who can't even pay a bill after a fight, and many guys, and girls too. There are a lot of women in this game now, but they're all warriors, and a lot of them suffer from debilitating injuries in this tough game and have no way of getting help for those injuries. For anybody who cares about people and not just necessarily fans of the sweet science, but how do they look into being a part of the event, or possibly just good people donating a little something? How can they look into deciding if they want to donate to this? You do have a website. What's the website again? And you have a Facebook page? Do you have Twitter? Let everyone know how they could find out as much as they can about this deserving.
We have a Facebook page. We have we have the website. Just pull up, and that will guide you to a donation where you could donate directly to Ring 10. You could donate through PayPal. You know, I had a fighter yesterday, Willie Wise. Willie Wise wanted to be a part of it, but can't make the trip. I think he's in Virginia, but he can't make the trip up. He said, "Nah, I want to pay a ticket for route." So he paid on PayPal to pay for a ticket that we're donating. You know, we're taking care of his expense. Just say Ray Mancini. You know, he's a comp ticket, so he's paying the ticket. So that could be done. My address is in there. Donations are always to Ring 10, so it's never a misunderstanding. Matt, what are you doing with the money? Well, the money goes to Ring 10. Everything goes to Ring 10. So this is an ongoing basis. I know it's one time a year we have this affair, but our fundraising is 12 months a year, and anything that we can collect is somehow going to eventually go to a fighter. We just want to kind of budget it out so that we land at zero by the time the next event takes place.
Yeah, and Harold, I don't want to tell people how to spend their money, but when you're talking, when you're thinking about the people at the top of the sport, you got Floyd Mayweather, who is the highest paid athlete in the world, not just boxer, but athlete, period. And you got Oscar De La Hoya, you got Evander, Bob Arum, all these guys who do have the vast amounts of money. Manny Pacquiao, I'm not going to name them again, but I don't want to tell them how to spend their money. But do you think that these guys should do more for these guys?
I mean, like you say, it's hard to tell Floyd where to spend his money. I'm sure he gives a ton of money to his favorite charities, no doubt about it. I mean, I've always known Floyd to be a very generous person. So, you can't tell him how to spend their money, but if they would send a few bucks to Ring 10, it certainly wouldn't hurt. Yeah. Hopefully next year, Floyd won't have a fight coming up against Canelo Alvarez, and we can get him to come to our affair. So, you never know. I mean, this year, there was no way we could get him. He's got to fight 1 week later. It's, the biggest fight of the year. So, you can't pull him at a training camp, but, he is boxing, the face of boxing right now. Let's face reality. And, between all of the great fights he fought this year and all access, he's a big star. So hopefully we'll get him to come to our fundraiser next year.
And they need help, though. Help Gerald McClellan, help Wilfred Benitez, and help their loved ones in a way that you can. And again, I can't force them to spend the money, but Matt Farrago and Harold Lederman, good luck with this event. You guys are heroes, and I appreciate your time talking to me about this great September 8th event being held by you. You're doing incredible work, and I appreciate the time you gave me. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And we hope we see our fans out there. We truly hope you guys come and have a little bit of support for us.
Yeah, if you love the sweet science or just love mankind, right? Just be there.
That's true.
Do what you can.
That's true, yep.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
Bye now.
Harold, thank you.
You're welcome.